Morning guys, and welcome to the Fit Pro Daily. This week I'm doing it all from sunny Azerbaijan here in Baku, as I'm here to watch Wales at Euro 2020. Now this week is all about business optimization and putting systems into your fitness business to really make your life so much more simpler. And we're going to start with Neill from LedFit to explain how he set up his own software company, tips and tricks that he's used when he ran his own fitness business, and the type of trends and things that he's seen from other fitness business owners that use his software. But before we do dive into today's guest interview, if you haven't already subscribed, press pause, press subscribe, and then let's dive into this week's guest interview. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's special guest interview. Today we have Ryan all the way from sunny Ireland. What's the weather like over there?
Not too sunny right now. So I'm down in Cork here in the south of Ireland, which you'd like to call it the sunny south, but it's not quite.
If I open the curtains here, I kind of close all the curtains so it keeps it nice and dark and you can see all the lights, but it's absolutely hammering it down outside. So it's sometimes best just to keep them closed so you don't know what's going on out there. But yeah, thanks for reaching out. We've been speaking previously, and obviously we're going to get into LedFit in a minute as we kind of go through so people can get to know a little bit more about you. But what we're going to talk about is business optimization, really, and kind of seeing how we can just almost streamline our business, make it work a lot better for us. Is that the type of angle we're going to go for today?
Yeah, I think it's kind of like from very first day when you're setting up. And I think there's some commonalities within our story at LedFit. Now, we build software, which is slightly different, of course, but I think there's a lot of commonalities into building a business and learning as you go. And then kind of what you do then as like even from 3 years on, 5 years on, 10 years on.
Yeah, nice. Okay. But the first question I ask everybody when we do these is, how did you get started in the fitness industry?
Sure. So my background, I used to play soccer, football, soccer. We have to call it soccer here in Ireland. But and I was playing with Cork City at Youth Academy with one of the other later to be co-founders, and we all got released at the senior level. So I was like, okay, what am I going to do now? And I was kind of getting into fitness. I was a bit overweight. I was a goalkeeper in soccer, so I was good for blocking stuff, all right. But I was going to the gym, and I really started enjoying it, really started seeing the benefits of it. And I went into college here in Cork and did pharmaceutical science. So again, completely different realm, and went out, worked in the industry for a bit, didn't really enjoy it. So I decided to do my PT cert by night. And I just started working in the fitness industry, then kind of helping clients and kind of networking and trying to find out a bit more about what was working, what was not working.
Nice. Okay. So at what point did you decide, you know what, helping and training clients is great, but I kind of have a smaller passion for the technology side, the stuff that you're doing now. How did that transition?
Yeah, so I suppose, and this was kind of like part of our founding story of the company, but I was kind of looking at starting up and getting more clients in the door. And then I met the other goalkeeper from Cork City at the time in a spinning class that he was running. And I was like, oh, you're doing classes here. How'd you find it? How'd you find the business thing? And he was a few years into it. And I asked him, like, what are the toughest things for him? And we were kind of both struggling with similar things, but also like other diverse things. And we were like, okay, there must be something out there that's going to help with these processes and these, like, from like attaining clients, but then to retaining clients as well. And we looked at kind of other products that were out there. Again, I hate to name drop, but MindBody, and we kind of saw them as being like these massive enterprise solutions that were great for large businesses, but not for people who are on the go and trying to coach clients. So we decided to kind of do a bit more research into the industry. We interviewed like 100 different businesses at the time, and we went through this little start your own business course. We found that like the average business was spending about 4 hours on admin a week and experiencing about 3 cancellations. And it was something that we were passionate about. So we decided, okay, let's try and solve this, and let's kind of let's work on this on the side a bit. So we did that for about a year. And then we kind of left our kind of jobs full-time to go into it full-time, and have been just doing it ever since then.
Nice. Okay. So what is it? What is LedFit now then for people who kind of, they've just listened? You started as a Fit Pro, you started doing a few different things. Now you set up this software, and you've mentioned a few things that the software does. What is the software?
Sure. So, like what we like to say is Legit Fit is taking the heavy lifting out of running a fitness business. So it's mainly to do with that back end system, that back office management solution. So what we've, I suppose, found over the course of the last few years is that, you know, you have the likes of MindBody, they're doing everything for everyone, but what a lot of people want is like the 20% done right. Okay, so that's bookings, payments, and communication. Just a really simple solution that ties in those three things. So that's kind of what we focus on. We have like an online scheduler, a waiting list, that kind of stuff. We have like a CRM. You have a two-way messenger as well, so it's kind of like WhatsApp. And then you have like groups and broadcasts and different things like that. So it's trying to bring all the kind of consumer technologies that people are used to, like your Google Calendar, your WhatsApp, your CRM, into the one tool then to kind of make the back end thing just a lot easier. Because what we still find, and still rings true today since day one, is that half people are probably still using pen and paper or using Google Sheets or something like that to run their business. And you know, it's only when you see the hidden costs of like what that is, it is kind of illuminating to any business owner of like what not having something implemented can do, whether it's Legit Fit or whether it's someone else. I'm not going to plug us too much on this.
No, that's cool. Okay, so let's dive, like when you first got started, not the fitness business, but this business. You mentioned that
Sure.
you interviewed a load of other people to kind of see what their worries and struggles and things were. How important is doing business research before starting up a business, do you reckon?
Incredibly important, because we actually started with a completely different business idea. So the business idea was the Airbnb for fitness professionals, which sounds like a great idea, and I loved it. And leveraging that Airbnb cool startup vibe. But I suppose when we went out talking to the industry, we found that like that was a nice to have. When we asked them, okay, we have it ready, do you want to pay for it? Even though we didn't have it ready, it was always like, oh, I'd have to see how it's going, and I don't know about that. So I suppose we found that it wasn't a big enough pain that people were willing to pay for, and then you just don't have a business if you don't have customers actually paying money. So like we did spend about, I think, 3 months before we even touched a line of code to kind of find out what is the biggest pain point. And for us, it was always going down to like, you know, existing systems are too expensive or too difficult to use. And if you're not doing that, you're losing out on £10,000 per year. And that we quantified that £10,000 coming from the 256 cancellations the average business gets per year, as well as the 4 hours they're spending on the admin time every per week, essentially.
Okay, so you've done your research then, and you're starting to get an idea of what people want and need. Again, coming at it from a Fit Pro type of thing. Do you then use that information to break down and be even more specific about who you want to work with, or do you generally just work with most people that fit within what it is you want to deliver?
Yeah, I think like at the start, during like your ideation stage, it's all about like, okay, like what the market wants, number one, and that's where your research comes in, what you're good at, number two, but then also what you enjoy doing. So I think that was really important to us into kind of figuring out what were we going to launch. And then once we did launch, I suppose we were a bit naive at the time, and we were like, Legit Fit is for everybody come to us. You kind of start to figure out like who your customer types are and who's the kind of best fit for you. And we kind of even do that today when we're kind of prospecting, where we're kind of like, okay, like, are we genuinely a good fit for this business owner? Like, are we the right people for them? And if we're not, we just say it. We're like, okay, don't go to us. Check out this crowd. They're actually quite good at this. So if it's like programming, we don't do programming. So we kind of say to people, oh, check out maybe Trade Heroic, or check out PT Minder or PT Distinction or something like that.
So you know your competition really well. Is this something you think is really important? Because for us at DK9 Fitness and even at Fit Pro Lead Gen, I couldn't name half of our competition here in Cardiff or online. It's just not something I consider important for us. Do you reckon it is something that you should really consider what your competition is doing?
Um, I think, yes, it's important to kind of like have an idea on what they're doing, what they're working on, what's working well for them as well, and learning from them. I think if we're kind of somewhat like just kind of like, oh, they'll do what they do and I do what I do, like that's fine, but I think it works better if you can kind of understand what are they not doing, what can I offer better than them. Or, you know, for us, it was finding that, you know, our competitors were like large multi-billion-dollar companies, multi-million-dollar companies as well, and what they weren't doing well was like the service side. So when they were setting up businesses, they just weren't taking that care and kind of that time at the very start to make the business more successful using the platform, which actually ends up quite good. It's the same when you're working with clients. You know, if you put up a bit of the work up front and kind of take that time and that approach at the start, it's going to make them a better client for you down the road and better retention for yourself. So I suppose like that's what we always do. We never get bogged down about our competitors and what they're doing. They're going to, you know, run ads against us. They're going to do everything else against us, but it's just learning from them in and kind of anytime, like we've switched hundreds of businesses from our competitors over to us. And the first thing we always ask is, what did you like about it? And what did you dislike about it? Because we can learn something from both. We can learn, like, if they like that, maybe we should be building this. If they didn't like that, maybe we need to focus on this and remove this, or maybe we need to kind of find a different way to overcome it. And that's what like, you know, whether it's a software business or a fitness business, it's learn and iterate every time. So just learn and build something new or create something new.
No, that's quite interesting. Okay, so someone's gone out there, they've done their market research, they've decided on an audience that they want to go with, they've seen what their competitors are doing, and I'm guessing the biggest question most people usually have when they're just getting going is, how much should I charge? How did you kind of come up with your pricing structure for the software company?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. And that's definitely one where you do have to be mindful of competitors as well. And we hear this a lot when businesses are signing up with us. And it's part of what we do with the onboarding is we talk about, we have the data behind this, kind of what people are charging on average for pay as you go, for membership, for packages, that kind of stuff. So I think like when it came to our situation, we looked at the market and like we were, first of all, we're considering, okay, we're reducing cancellations and we're reducing admin time. There's this €10,000 saving, and you know, people would say to us in these incubators and stuff like that we're going through is like, well, if you're saving them 10, would you not charge them 5? But you can't charge people €5,000 because then you have competitors in the US and somewhere else charging X amount. So you do have to be mindful of kind of what's in the market. But I think, and especially at the start, but I think what we did quite well was we did intro offers. So we did heavily discounted intro offers, but that was literally just to get our name out there. And we always kind of had the plan to move to like a regular pricing amount, where we were kind of, again, keeping an eye on what we were offering and really kind of trying to figure out what's the value, because that's the most important thing for our customers is like what do they actually value this? And, you know, they might be happy paying more for a system because we're always quoted as being too affordable, which I sometimes hate hearing, but love hearing. But, you know, you kind of have to kind of do that. And then what I always say to a business when we're signing them up is like, what's your goal? Like, do you want to be at 5K a month? Do you want to be at 4K a month? And just work backwards from that goal, reverse engineer how to get to that point. So if you want to be at 5K a month, you need 100 clients paying you €50, or you need 50 clients paying you €100. And kind of that's how you should be kind of thinking about like your pricing and going forward is like what's that point where you can either leave your other job or you're really comfortable in this job, or you can hire someone else, you know?
Yeah, no, that's quite a valid point, especially for people who are just getting started, or whether you're launching a new program or offer or something to really get that ball going. Drop the price a little bit, or run some sort of foundational or special offer or beginner offer to get people in, and then you know you can start increasing the price because you've got a foundation to work on. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because it does work well, and like even like kind of changing your pricing can help as well. Like we've seen businesses increase their like double their prices, or you know, increase it by 1.5x, and you know, people pay attention as well to what's expensive because they believe there's a belief there that, okay, if this expensive, it's going to be good. If it's this cheap, it's going to be shit. So it has to be kind of, you have to be balancing that as well. I don't know if I'm allowed to curse on these as well, so flag me up if I'm cursing too much.
No, that's good. Okay, so let's stay with the numbers then, because you mentioned numbers quite a lot at the start, especially in regards to even like some of your sales pitches there. We're going to help you save 10,000 euros a year through cancellations. How important is it for fitness businesses owners or business owners in general to really understand not just how many people they've got coming in or how much they're pricing, but some of these other deeper numbers that you can use for your sales tactics or even business growth?
Yeah, like I think it's super important, and that's why I'm such an advocate for software. Again, whether it's us or somebody else, is there's a lot of optimizations and a lot of unseen costs to the businesses. Like business, if you're a business and you're making 3-4 grand a month, like things are going grand, like you don't look at the numbers, where it's super important to kind of really dive into them and say, okay, well, we actually made 2 grand, but we could have made 4 grand. And this is why we didn't make that other 2 grand. So for me, like, having insights into kind of like booking numbers, insights into payments, like having people on recurring payments, that kind of stuff, knowing how many cancellations you're getting, who's actually canceling on you, knowing all these things feed into, I suppose, you refining your own business, refining the processes of bringing people in, but also refining the process of actually keeping them and getting that business to the next level, essentially.
Yeah, and that's a massive point you meant at the start there. Most people only start tracking their numbers when things start going pear-shaped. Maybe they've been at like 5K a month for a couple of months, COVID struck, or a couple of people have left because they're going on holiday and stuff. And then you lose a load of clients and you start panicking. And then you start diving into the accounts and you start diving here and you're changing these subscriptions because you're panicking. Whereas
Yeah.
I'm guessing, like you said, if you start tracking it from the start and really understanding what these numbers actually mean, you're not panicking that you're losing money. You're panicking because you should be making even more money. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's like create the foundation so that you're able to kind of track these things. And then kind of like as you're going along in business, like at the very start, you're never going to know everything, and you're still going to not know a lot when you're 5 years in or whatever. But like once you build a foundation, and then you can kind of revisit it. Like I set up a monthly thing myself where I go and looking at the numbers, and our teams internally as well, from a development standpoint and from a sales and a customer success standpoint, they look at numbers every single week to see, okay, what churn did we have this week? Why did people churn? And then, one thing that we do, now, thankfully, we haven't had to do it too often, but it does happen. If someone does churn, finding out why did that happen is super, super important, because it's going to ideally prevent it from happening the next time. So we've this a kind of a system built out on our CRM provider where if they do churn, we then have a call with them. We ask them what didn't go so well, because they might be actually, maybe it was just the wrong time for them right now, and it might be something for the future.
Yeah, again, a massive valid point. A lot of people in in your fitness business, if a client says they want to hand their notice in, try and have a chat, because something could be going on at home. Or they might say, I need to hand my notice in because I just need to stop. Maybe they just need to change their program because they just can't get there as much. Chatting to
Yeah.
people, like you say, when they're leaving makes a massive difference. Yeah.
And it's sometimes they won't leave. That's the other thing. We've had calls where like, oh, I have to cancel, and then especially around COVID last year, everybody was like, oh no, this is terrible, business is gonna have to shut, all that kind of stuff. So what we actually did was we ran this webinar series for a week, and then we literally picked up the phone, rang every customer on the platform and said, how are you getting on? What can we help with anything? And like if a couple were looking to cancel with COVID and stuff like that, we rang them. We said, tell us why are you looking to cancel? He's like, oh, I'm going to do Zoom. And we were like, oh, we actually have a Zoom integration built in now, so you can actually use that. And it's going to make it easier for you. So it was like, all these things that people kind of say, okay, I need to stop or cancel. That's kind of a heat of the moment thing. The same as when you're looking to start up, it's always a heat of the moment thing. And it's just by kind of figuring out, okay, is there a way to avoid this churn, or is there a way to learn from this churn?
Cool. Okay, let's go back just one more step then, because we're kind of moving in a different direction with stuff we were talking about there. What are some of the 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5 tips or numbers fitness business owners should really be tracking to make sure they are growing in the right direction, do you think?
Sure. So again, I'm approaching this from like software, so slightly different for us, but I think like cost, I think I saw a post you did about this as well, about CAC, like cost of customer acquisition. So knowing like what does this lead cost you to what are you earning from this lead. So CAC and lifetime value. So if someone's costing you €100 and you're making, I think you said, sorry, £100, and you're making £100, you're just breaking even. You need it to be higher. So knowing that kind of that ratio is super important when you get maybe a bit further down the line, because you'll have the money to spend on ads. I think like what's your monthly recurring revenue? Like I know a lot of businesses who are like group-based fitness and they're moving most things to memberships and recurring subscriptions, which is great to see. But we're also seeing a lot of personal trainers who are moving things to subscriptions as well. So PTMs, where basically instead of doing your block of 16 weeks or 12 weeks, that it makes it a bit more affordable. And because you have a software system taking care of payments and assigning sessions, you can offer that on a monthly basis, which just makes things a lot easier. So I think MRR will be a big thing for businesses to be tracking in the future, that monthly recurring revenue. Churn, for sure. So like if you sign up 100 and one person churns every month, you've churned up 1%, and there's kind of industry standards you want to be kind of looking after there. For software, it's like 1% per month. I'm not exactly sure what it is for fitness businesses, but surely we can get some metrics on that. And then I suppose we monitor this thing internally called NPS, which I think is like really, really fantastic, and it kind of feeds into everything else, which is your net promoter score. So it's like, how happy are your customers with you? So it's a very simple kind of, I don't know if you've ever heard of a Likert scale, but it's like a scale of 1 to 5 or 1 to 7. And basically it's like 7 different smiley faces, and sorry, David.
Welcome back.
Gotta love technology. Zoom just crashed on me, but I'm closing down some applications, so we're good now.
I think we're all just kind of like sat there like, where's he gone? He said smiley face, and then you stopped, and we were like, oh, what's going on?
Cliffhanger. So yeah, what I was saying was like basically like just having a Likert scale, like, you know, rate us out of like 1 to 10 or 1 to 7 or whatever it might be, so that you know like how you're doing as a business. And when people are rating between 1 and 5, that you can follow up and saying, hey, you know, what can I do better? And just really like, you know, not taking offense to it, but like striving for betterment. And then if they're going from 5 to 10, that's when you send them to your Google reviews and say, hey, mind write me a review? Thanks so much. So yeah, I think like for us, it's definitely cost of customer acquisition, the lifetime value, how happy are those customers, and then churn as well, to kind of just, again, understand a bit more about what you can do better.
Cool. Okay, so we've kind of got those points now. So business optimization, that's kind of what we've named this podcast or this episode. What type of business optimizations should fit pros really be considering for their fitness business, especially when it comes to actually growth?
Yeah, so I think like the first thing that we learned was about the prospecting. So like optimizing that process, like very first and foremost. So as I said, we went out and we were like, LegitFit is for everybody. Come on, sign up for free. We're going to do a free month. It's free, everything. Yeah, all that kind of stuff. And what we learned from that kind of first 3 to 6 months is prospect, like you can waste a huge amount of time prospecting. Like you can be going back and forth with people. You can be signing people up for free trials and all that kind of stuff. But a lot of the time, like, you know, more often than not, those prospects are just not right for you and you're not right for them. So I think like one thing that I think a lot of fitness professionals should be doing is kind of making some little barriers to prospecting. So if they're running ads or they're running whatever, it shouldn't be just like message me or fill out this form straight from Facebook, even though I know the algorithm works quite well with those. Because you're usually getting people. I rang someone up last week and they said, what did I sign up for? What did I do? So it's just like, you know, the easier you make it, yes, that is good, but it's not always the best thing you can be doing. If you can create a few barriers over the course of prospecting, you know, here's a quick form. Can you fill this out with 6 or 7 questions? like the people who will actually fill out that form are going to be a lot higher value for you as a business. So I think like when it comes to like the first step towards optimization, it's about kind of figuring that out and making the mistakes at the very start and just learning from those mistakes.
Yeah, and like you say, and I think that's with Facebook ads, like you say, and if you put a really generic, plain Facebook ad out and somebody submits their detail and you give them a call and they don't really know what the deal is, like, did I even appeal or apply for this 6-week program? And you're left baffled and they're left baffled. Like you say, make sure you know what this setup actually is. So when you are putting these ads out there, people that are coming in, they know what the score is already. They're excited. They've been expecting this call. Like you say, you've put the stuff out there. You've got the sales page done. So when they sign up for the free trial, they know exactly what they're getting from you. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think like even sometimes, and this has happened, this isn't like years ago that this happened either, but you know, we were running some ads on Facebook and we had like a window fitter sign up to one of our ads, and you know, instead of just saying, okay, well, that's window fitter, that's no use to us, we actually rang him and said, hey, you signed up to LedFit? And again, he was like, what did I sign up to? And we kind of went through the process. Oh, it was booking software and all that kind of stuff, and we kind of dug a bit deeper into why he signed up. And it was just in our messaging. So it was like, you know, something that we could fix on the inside. And I think it's something that you kind of, again, need to just like learn and iterate on. That is like, you know, what am I actually saying to get these terrible leads for what I'm looking to do here?
So when you're doing this stuff then, and like you spoke with this window cleaner to get this information, what type of questions are you asking, or what type of key notifications or pointers are you looking out for to say, you know what, I am doing really well with my marketing, or my marketing sucks, I really need to change what I'm doing?
Yeah, so like for us, it's kind of just like finding out, like, number one, do they know who we are? Because again, you can like quickly qualify the people who are, you know, just signed up out of a whim, or were just on it late and scrolling and clicked the button and said, yeah, go on, take my email address. And then it's kind of like, we tried to pre-qualify them now with like, you go through this flow of like your business type, how many clients you have. Again, it would be slightly different, obviously, for fitness pros. It might be their current level of fitness. It might be their goals and things like that. So that, again, that they're just putting in that small bit of like effort to kind of give us more information so that we can kind of better see if we're a right fit for them. So I think like for us, it was finding, okay, what do we need to implement on our side to kind of make that a bit better? And then for fitness pros, I think it's, yeah, just like adding a small few barriers.
Yeah, cool. So just, this is more of an interest for me then. So this onboarding process you've got, is it something like a type form or job form where it's almost like a gamified experience? Are you one of these? Yes. Are you one of these? Yes. Is that the type of setup you got?
Yeah, exactly. So like love type form, first of all. I think it's really, really good. We've actually started using something called video form, which is, I think Typeform actually came out with something similar recently, but it's kind of this workflow where you land on this page and it's a video of me saying, hi, it's Ryan here from LedFit. Would love to chat to you. Tell me which one you are. And they click a button and it sends them to another video and says, brilliant, you're a fitness professional. Let me talk to you a bit about your business, blah, 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 blah. What would you like to find out more about? And they can go through this like interactive medium. It's really, really good. So yeah, check those guys out. Video form. I think another one's called Video Ask. It's about $30-40 a month.
Yeah, something. Video Ask, that's done by Typeform. Everyone watching this, if your fitness business is not in a good place, don't do any of this stuff just yet. This is kind of like the next level messing around stuff.
First level might be just like you're like just something simple. Google Forms, like just Typeform is free as well for three forms. So it doesn't have to be the most expensive, complicated, and you're dead right. You shouldn't be spending like a huge amount of money on that stuff in the first place. It's really about like, getting the first customers in the door and making sure their experience is good.
Cool. Okay. So we've got a load of ideas and different stuff that we can do to bring people in, especially to optimize. Clients are now in. How do you optimize to make sure their LTV, their lifetime value, is way more than just the initial 30 days or 6 weeks? We can push it to 10 months to almost 2 years or whatever.
Yeah. So I think it's all about the the experience. So like, and this should be kind of part of your like, I use this thing called Miro, which is like this kind of this board that you can create like workflows and different things like that. And you should really be kind of looking at like your perfect customer journey. What does that look like? So
What was that called again?
I think it's called Miro, Miro. And it just allows you to kind of like create this board of different things. And like what we like to do is like, okay, if someone signed up to the freemium, what's the best way for them to kind of go down the funnel and for us to contact them? And like, you know, with a fitness business, it might be, okay, they register on Typeform, and then it sends something to Zapier to book a Calendly for a consultation call. It also adds them to the MailChimp mailing list. So it's like, it has to be kind of tied into that retention piece. But I think when it comes to like keeping the clients, then it is things like having something for communication. So like, again, with email marketing, if you're doing a newsletter or something like that, I feel that's quite a nice thing to add to any business is, you know, your monthly newsletter with here's member of the month, whatever of the month. So having kind of something like that set up, I think MailChimp's like $11 a month or something. Then I suppose something to kind of like, I suppose, track customers as well, whether it's like whatever they're paying on, or you know, it might be kind of like this deals board, and then just making sure you're looking at, you know, every touch point that you have with them, is that the best way for them to kind of to interact with you. So again, like when it comes to communicating, is it done by email right now? Is it done by WhatsApp Messenger? Is it done by Instagram? When it comes to like paying, are you sending them PayPal links? Are you sending them to a store on the website? Is that the best way for the customer? And then from like, again, bookings, you know, even though like I'm sure the last thing a customer wants to be, or a client of a business wants to be doing, is like texting them on a Saturday night saying, hey, what you have free for next week. So just about making kind of that experience better for them. So like when it comes to the operational standpoint, it's just having the foundation and the systems in place. So whether it's MailChimp, LegitFit, Zapier, and Zoom in place, they're the kind of things that you can definitely have control over. And then the other things are like, I suppose, like the kind of non-tangible things of like, you know, when they come in, how is that experience? Is the place tidy? Are you professional with them? Are the group, you know, there's all those little things as well, which I'm not an expert on because I wasn't working in the industry for enough time to be talking about that. But I think like they're super important to kind of look at as well, those non-tangibles.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, some of the stuff you're saying there is super, super, super important. First impressions matter so much. And you have to remember as well, your onboarding process isn't one email. It's not one day. Your onboarding process, I'm guessing for you, your onboarding process is the 30-day trial of the program. It's not that first email to say, thanks for starting your 30 days, enjoy, good luck. There's like loads of emails, how to best use the software, how to edit this, how to change that. And it's not all done at once. It's done over that period. Because last thing you want to do is someone to come in and you expect them to love your program and understand everything, but they come to the end of the 30 days and they've not done anything because they're still massively confused by how everything works.
Yeah, exactly. So like, again, with us, we use HubSpot a huge amount. Now, HubSpot is slightly overkill if you're kind of running a kind of anywhere from 5 to 10K business. But if you're going over that level, it's so powerful. So like, just as you said there, when someone comes into a freemium or when we contact someone and they're interested, you know, we send them on this workflow of like, email number 1 sends this, then it sends a task to us to say, call them on this date. And then it sends another email, and then it does like this whole process. So it's just really professionalized, and they're like, well, these guys have got a hang of it. And after the 30 days, they're like, well, I'm going to upgrade because I know I trust this business now. And it's not just a case, as you said, of like, you know, me having a template and just copying and pasting into an email saying, thanks for signing up, best of luck with things, and chat to you soon. You know, it's having those extra little touch points. You know, you can really easily automate something on Zapier so that it sends them, you know, if they sign up on week 1, it sends them like a check-in form on week 2, just saying, hey, how did you get on last week? Tell me how you're feeling, blah, blah, blah. And again, for you, it's just looking at like, you know, getting pinged a notification to say, okay, this person is super happy on that Likert scale, or super not happy or confused on that Likert scale, and just giving them a call then.
Okay. So let's finish off. A couple of final tips. I've got one more question I want to ask you, and I think this will be quite interesting for most people listening. But before we dive into that, what final optimization tips and stuff have you got for people running their fitness business, whether it be brand new or they've been going for years and years and years and years?
Yeah, so like something that again, I've learned from other people, and I didn't know this at the start at all, but like from the start, knowing, really exploring your business model, I think that's super, super important. So like payment optimization as well. So like if a lot of businesses will be doing like pay as you go and package based stuff. But like if you can even move that to a membership model, a recurring model, it's just so much better. You don't have to chase up on clients every month. They don't want to be chased up either. Implementing things like I saw this really clever idea where this one business does an 8-week intro package followed by a recurring membership. And you can only get onto the recurring membership if you've been through the intro package. And the intro package is expensive and the recurring membership is a lot more affordable. And if you drop out of that, and that first of all puts value on what they're offering, number one, and they feel like, great, I get to go onto this members package now. So I think like using those kind of psychological things is quite good. And then once they're actually when they're actually a client of yours, and if they leave, they have to go back through that intro package again from the start, and that prevents the churn element. So I think I've seen kind of some very clever tweaks to business models that can kind of optimize things. And like I'm like an advocate for software, but I'm more of an advocate for recurring revenue. And I think it's just like for any business owner, whether they're like very large or they're independent, it's really good to know that you have a predictable source of recurring income. And I think that like everybody should be trying to move towards that model essentially.
Well, okay. So this final question I've got, we'll go for 1, 2, or 3 tips. Okay. You have tons of clients all over the world using this software, all asking a massive wide range of questions. What 1, 2, maybe even 3 things do you see happening over the next year and a half from all these questions that you're being asked about the software?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think like business models, like there's always questions when we sign up people, like what kind of business, what kind of pricing should we be doing? What are other people doing? That kind of stuff. So like, I suppose making that process a bit better, and like having those assets and things for businesses to learn. And I think it's why it's important for like, you know, people like yourself to be kind of telling the world about what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing or should be staying away from. So I think like that's definitely important. That kind of recurring revenue and payments is going to be growing, and less cash because of what's happened in the last whatever 12, 18 months. So I think a lot of card will be coming into play, and I think we know the cash benefits, but I think the movement towards card and setting that up and having that structure right is super important right now. I think as well, like how like professionalism, how people see you online, that first as you were saying there, that first impression. So like something we're working on the background is profiles. So again, that kind of Airbnb type of look to like, here's the person, here's all the reviews that they have from their current client base, bringing in that social validation. I think that's going to be, again, it's a competitive advantage for us right now is the validation we have from current customers. So I think all businesses should be kind of looking to build that validation. A lot of people don't use Google My Business, which I think is it's insane. So like people should be setting that up straight away, having people review them and really pushing for that kind of stuff, because the first thing clients do is search for fitness.
On Google My Business, we've literally just brought out a training. So whatever you post on your Facebook page automatically gets added onto your Google My Business, because Google My Business also has a social media type of element to it, which a lot of people don't realize.
Yeah. So I think that's gonna be super important. And then I think, like, you know, one thing that we're looking at integrating with right now is Zapier. I think Zapier is super powerful, and it's the connector of all apps. So, you know, if people can kind of start like just easily connect things that work together, their bookings, their payments, their communications, their socials, their whole ecosystem within one interface.
Cool. Ryan, so you are Ryan from Legit Fit. How can people find out a little bit more about you and what Legit Fit actually does?
Yeah, so they can visit the website. It's legitfit.com or legitfit.co.uk, or they can email me directly. It's actually down there on the side, ryan@legitfit.com. I've also actually set up something for your followers and your customers, so I can kind of share that with you maybe after, for a heavily discounted product, essentially.
No, that's cool. Ryan, I appreciate your time. I'm guessing a lot of people are watching this are like, damn, I need a notepad and pen. I need to go back through this and write all those things that they've just talked about and do it all again. So I'm guessing it'll be one of those episodes that people kind of watch a couple of times and take notes and start implementing some of the stuff. But like you said, I know we talked about video, application forms, all these crazy different stuff. If you don't think your business is there yet, just get the basics right. And then, like you say, start optimizing, like we've been talking about, to really push on to those next levels.
Yeah, exactly. Use as much free tools as possible. There's a lot of free stuff out there. Like we even have a freemium up to 25 clients. So if you're just getting started and you want to use something for free, you can use us and you can accept payments, take bookings, all that kind of stuff straight away through there. And then, as we mentioned, Typeform, Google Form, Zapier, they all have their free plans as well. So I think it's definitely kind of worth exploring and getting the foundations right before you essentially put fuel on the fire.
Perfect. Ryan, I appreciate your time today. Thanks for coming on, and we'll probably speak to you soon.
Sounds good. Bye.
See ya.
So that was Ryan from Legit Fit, and you could really see what he was talking about, the way he was explaining how he used it in his own fitness business, how he's been helping others within their fitness business, and the tips and trends that he's seeing happening in the fitness industry right now. So it's probably one of those episodes that you probably want to go back, take some notes, do it all over again, so you really get the most from the episodes. As usual, we'd love your feedback. Comment below, subscribe, do let us know what you think, and I'll speak to you all tomorrow. Cheers.